a lot. So my first job was Celanese, right? And then after the war, we moved to, let's see, we were, the research lab at Celanese, we moved to Summit, New Jersey. And so we got a house in Springfield, which is a neighboring town. And in the meantime, friends of Tom's that I had met too, they were, Norm Ishley, he was at Celanese, and then during the war he worked for chemical warfare in Pittsburgh, and Tom's mother lived in Pittsburgh. So I got to meet the Ishlers in Pittsburgh, Norm and Rose, and they moved to Summit, New Jersey, and we moved to Springfield, neighboring towns. So we knew them ever since, for years and years and years. You know, it was wonderful. And so we lived in Springfield for 10 years, I think. And when we moved there, we had two little boys, Tommy and Jimmy. And then all the rest of the children were born when we lived in Springfield. And we had 6 of them, Tommy, Jimmy, and then Ann. And then I was pregnant, and she said, I want a little sister, I want a little sister. And when Kathy came out, she was a little sister. Isn't that great? And then later, I had John and Bob, you know. Bobby wanted to be here too. So then in the meantime, Tom, I forget what happened, but anyway, he got a job at General Foods in Tarrytown, New York. And he was commuting, which is quite a distance. And then we went looking for a house, and we looked around in Westchesterburg and Rockland, and then we saw the model home up here. And so we signed up and got this one. We were the second family to move into the street, and the people next door were first, and I think they were third. And Levy's, they had, she came here, they had 8 children. I think one of them was born after they moved here, you know. So we were like the originals, because this had been the site of Camp Shanks, where the soldiers came to before they marched over to the river and got on boats and went to England to go to the war. And then after the war, this land was sold, like, to developers, and there are barracks. I think there are barracks foundations under here. There were barracks in Tappan and Orangeburg and Blauvelt, and they had built the school in Orangeburg for the children of the army staff, you know. And so anyway, we moved here with 6 children, and Tommy and Jimmy went to that school here in Orangeburg, and Ann went to St. Catherine's, which had just opened, and they made the 4th grade the highest. And then the other 3 kids were at home. And when St. Catherine's was 50 years old, they closed the school because in the meantime, the demographics around here changed. And, you know, the New York Archdiocese combined parishes, and so they would combine 2 churches into one, that kind of thing. So they closed St. Catherine's when it was 50 years old, and but they now have I think a large preschool there, you know, because and the nuns, the ones who taught there were right here at the convent. And the convent had a lot of children at that time here too. They had like a nursery, and then in the meantime they educated their own nuns. The next thing you know, they were a college, and my Donna's son went there to Dominican College, and there's another set of nuns that just over in Sparkhill, and that's called St. Thomas Aquinas, I think. There's two like nunneries turned into colleges in the meantime, as time went by, and so Donna's one son graduated from here. Isn't that something? Let's see what else. So anyway, we got this house, and it was perfect, like 2 boys downstairs, 2 little boys in the blue room, 2 girls in the other room, and, you know, it was a good house for us. And a good neighborhood, 55 kids on this street, 8 next door, and lots of 4s. And they had lots of friends, you know.